Hey everybody, welcome to my channel. I will be doing a story time about me working as a CCA for the post office. If you don't know what a CCA is a city carrier assistant. So city carriers assistant, they basically help the regulars with their work. So that's what a CCA is. I am in no way, shape, or form bashing the post office. I'm just sharing my experience. So I did the application in April of, it was actually my second application because I know I put the first one in 2015, I believe. So after I did the first application, I took the exam, the 473 exam. I believe I made a 78 on there. I know it was a passing grade, of course. Yeah, I think it was a 78. The exam, it really consisted of just trying to see if you can remember addresses and all that. And I think they had some math problems in there. I think, I'm not really sure. It was a while ago, so I can't remember everything that was on the exam. But all I know is you have to match up addresses as they showed us. You had to remember what the address was and how it is on the package. So after I did my second application, 3 months later, I was contacted, which was at the end of July. I was contacted by email. So they contact you every time by email, never by phone. So yeah, I was contacted in email, which started the hiring process. What the hiring process consisted of was the group interview, which I did that in August. It was just a bunch of us in this room updating our applications. They was telling us all that we will be doing. They was asking us, are we able to do the job that we say we can do? Like, are we able to be in certain climate, weather, like rain, sleet, snow? Asking, are we afraid of dogs, animals? They were just basically telling us everything what the job consisted of. So after the group interview, I know they had a personal interview for everybody to do, but my group was fortunate enough to not have a single interview. So everyone in that group, they let have the job basically. So after that interview, the group interview, we waited. It's basically a waiting game. So we waited for the job offer email. So if we still wanted the job, we can accept it. But if we didn't want the job anymore, we could decline the job offer. So I got that email like in middle of September, like at the end of September. So once I accepted the job offer, I had to take a drug test. They gave me 5 days to have my drug test completed. And along with the drug test was the background. I had to make an appointment to get my fingerprinted. So I had to go to the main post office and have my fingerprinted, and I filled out some more paperwork. I can't really remember what it was, but it was more paperwork. And then I took my ID picture along with that as well. So yeah. And that was like in the same month of September. Oh yeah, and while I was getting my fingerprinted ID picture taken, I also While I was there, I also scheduled an appointment to meet with the postmaster. They ask you, are you able to meet with the postmaster on a certain date that they give you? If you cannot, then they will reschedule you. You will have to go with another group, I believe. So that could have taken, if you wasn't able to go when they asked you to go, then you would have to wait until the next group went. I was able to go when they wanted me to meet the postmaster. And meeting the postmaster, it was cool. It was alright. I mean, all they did was basically talk about the job. He had us outside talking about basically what the job consisted of, what the CCAs do. So meeting the postmaster, like I said, basically telling us what the job consisted of, asking if we could do certain things that the job wanted us to do. Do we have any problem with the weather? Which I didn't have a problem with the weather because I worked in all types of weather at one of my previous jobs, so that was nothing. And I'm not afraid of animals. And he also told us that being a CCA, that we could potentially work 7 days a week with no off day, and we have to work Sunday. No ifs, ands, or but. You will have to work Sunday. We had off days because we had someone looking out for us to have off days. So that's the hiring process. So after meeting the postmaster, the training is actually 2 weeks. So you have 2 days of the first week you have 2 days of orientation, 1 day of the sit-in driving class, 1 day of this defensive driving course, 1 day of shadow day. Okay, so I started my training process in October, the beginning of October. And oh yeah, one thing, when you're doing the hiring process, you are contacted by email, as I stated. And in that email, in every email, they will tell you to not quit your job that you are at until they give you the final say so. So when they give you the final say so, you really won't have that much notice to put in if you are currently working another job. But I had notice. I was able to put my 2 weeks notice in for my previous job. So back with the training process, you have 2 weeks of training. So I started my training process in the beginning of October. I was supposed to have my 2 days of orientation, Monday and Tuesday, but Monday was a holiday and the post office is closed on holidays. So they rescheduled my orientation Tuesday and Wednesday. And the orientation really consisted of them telling us what not to do, what we should do, it was basically just PowerPoint after PowerPoint after PowerPoint telling us about the job. What are we going to do? How's the weather when we are doing it? Just basically the little stuff, actually. But luckily we wasn't in orientation. We wasn't always sitting down just doing watching PowerPoints. She actually had us active so she can make sure that we were paying attention, and I like that. So instead of just listening to one person talk for 8 hours, because orientation, even though it was 2 days, we was there for 8 hours. And I had my sit-in. After the 2 days of orientation, we did our driving class, sit-in driving class, Thursday. We watched videos. We was on the computer taking driving tests on the computer, and that was it. So taking tests on the computer, reading, like doing different activities on the computer, and watching videos of people that had accidents while delivering mail, or people that made minor mistakes that they could have been prevented, and just videos like that. Hey y'all, so my SD card got full, so I had to do the video the next day, which is today. So I left off at the sit-in driving class. So like I said, I went over that. Then we had 1 day of defensive driving course. And the course, they basically taught us how to drive the LLVs, the ProMaster, and the FLV. I think that's what it is, the FLV. And it was just like a basic driving test, like a regular driving test. See how well you drive on the streets, down two-lane roads, and all that good stuff. So I passed everything. I was so good that they thought I drove trucks for a living, which I didn't, but that's how good I was. So after my defensive driving course, I had my shadow day, which was on a Saturday. The shadow day is you riding with one of the regular carriers. You just basically riding, seeing what everything is about, how they deliver the mail, what all they go through. Just basically shadowing. Whenever they get out to do a walking route, you will have to get out and do a walking route as well. If they had a driving route, you just basically watching them deliver the mail. I had a cool shadow person. He was real cool. He was basically telling me what all was going on, and what to look out for, and what not to do, what to do, and all that good stuff. The academy is like the second week. So during the academy, you have 3 days of learning the ins and outs of the post office. They tell you about the certified mail, the standard mail, and the postal mail. Basic how to sign for packages and all that. How to scan the packages and all that. It was just basically sitting down in a class, reading, looking at PowerPoint. Then after the 3 days, we had like 1 full day of casing and practicing delivering mails. We only, like, during one of the 3 days of learning, we did, like, at the end of the day, we case mail. Casing is really not that hard once you get used to it. And practicing delivering the mail in the LLVs, they had us outside the little parking lot. They had it set up as a neighborhood. So they'll have one person walking the mail and a second person driving the LLVs. So as you walk in the mail, they showing you how to handle the mail and the flats. They tell you to have the flats in one arm, and then you have the mail in your hand in the same arm. And then we had to have our satchel. You always had to have the satchel for like the packages and everything that you have. And after that, it was graduation, or a ceremony if you want to call it. They gave us our certificate saying that we passed the class. And that was about it. But yeah, I really like the training. The training process, academy, everybody was A1. Like, they really taught us everything. Even though they trained us on a lot of stuff, it wasn't how it would be outside in the real world. Like, some other stuff they could have told us, like, it wasn't the actual thing. They don't really tell you about the stuff that you can encounter on your route, like all the customers stopping you, customer complaining, asking you questions, like all that. They never told us that we would actually be timed to do a route. But yeah, guys, that's all I have for my little working as a CCA for the post office chit chat. I will make a part 2 on me actually working in the post office, because all this is about the application process and all that. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to subscribe, and you guys have a good day.